These portraits of Michael Collins and Arthur Griffith were painted by John Lavery in 1921, while Collins and Griffith were in London negotiating the Anglo-Irish Treaty. The prints in the Jackie Clark collection, each signed by both Lavery and the sitter, were part of a limited run of less than 100 such prints, sold in the 1920s to raise money for Sinn Féin. Both portraits now hang in the Hugh Lane Gallery in Dublin. Collins' portrait is signed Micheál Ó Cuilleáin, the Irish language version of his name. This is the name he used consistently throughout his life, after working hard to learn the Irish language as an adult. Collins was instrumental in making Irish the constitutionally official national language of the Irish Free State, because he believed that, until we have it again in our tongues and in our minds, we are not free. The painter of these portraits, John Lavery, was himself involved in Irish politics and the cause of independence. Born to a Protestant family in Belfast in 1856, Lavery trained as an artist in Glasgow, London and Paris, moving permanently to London in 1888. In London, he met Irish-American painter Hazel Martin, whom he married in 1909. It is Hazel who inspires Lavery to get involved in Irish politics, leading them to become friends with both Collins and Griffith. Hazel supported Irish independence and frequently socialised with both Irish and British politicians. She first met Michael Collins in 1913. They struck up an ongoing correspondence that would last the rest of Collins's life, and he became a regular visitor in the Lavery home. The Laverys provided comfort and advice to Collins. On December 3, 1921, Collins visited them to express his frustration at the lack of progress being made in the treaty negotiations. John advised him, "He who loses his temper in argument is lost." And Hazel ultimately persuaded him that responding in anger during the negotiations would not help Ireland's cause. The calming influence on the Laverys made Collins amenable to Arthur Griffith's suggestion that he talk to David Lloyd George, the Prime Minister, since George had refused to listen to anyone else. Collins convinced George to grant Ireland fiscal autonomy. John was appointed by the Currency Commission to design the new Irish currency. He used Hazel's image as a motif on the Irish banknotes, where it stayed for over 50 years. Hazel's role in the War of Independence and the Irish Civil War extends beyond the supportive companionship she offers Collins and other key figures. During the tumultuous times after the signing of the treaty, Collins would exchange frequent letters with Hazel in which they communicated in code about the reception of the treaty. John Lavery's legacy is also one that, like Hazel, Griffith and Collins, combines a deep love for Ireland and a right to self-determination with the pursuit of peace and reconciliation. His body of work includes explicitly political paintings, like these two portraits, his deathbed portrait of Collins and his painting of the Roger Casement treason trial, but it also includes social portraits of prominent Londoners and the royal family. John worked on both sides of the sectarian divide, without pretending that they didn't exist. After his death, he left half of his collection to the Ulster Museum in Northern Ireland and half to the Hugh Lane Gallery in Dublin, refusing to choose a side even in death. This pair of portrait prints, signed by John Lavery, Michael Collins and Arthur Griffith, highlights the influence of a group of men and women committed to the ideal of peace, through compromise if needed, even when that ideal was unpopular, and supporting it came at great personal cost.